What's up, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Chromecast. My name's Joe, joined here today by Robbie.
What's up?
And Gabriel.
I'm here.
And there's Andy Cam over there.
Hey, guys.
And we have Paul, the Plantipus, joining us, and Dan. Whole crew's here.
Whole name, please.
Dan the Dino.
Thank you.
We're ready to rock and roll.
Can you see that back there? Is that in the shot anywhere?
On the wide shot, maybe?
Yeah.
It is?
That's
Yeah,
Dino.
Guitar. Gary.
Yeah, I like Gary.
Gary.
I was going with Gil.
Is
Gil?
it not Dino? Who was Dino? Somebody.
Gil the guitar.
Maybe
I
that's
don't
what
know.
Cass called hers.
Oh.
Somebody had a Dean and it was named Dino.
We,
that makes sense.
We have done a slight bit of rearranging. By slight bit, I mean we switched two whole offices.
Yeah.
I wasn't here,
You
so
can't, well, you can kind of tell probably from this shot. This should look a little
A
different.
little different.
we're
but-
farther off the wall for
well,
sure.
and you can see in Andy Cam's camera,
Oh yeah, Andy Cam.
there's no golf
Yeah,
simulator behind
get
it
a big
anymore.
wide shot. We'll throw in on the video.
We all just quit golf. So
This
we
is why you.
decided to make-
This is why you have to watch the video version,
Yeah,
so you
we
get
had
to
a-
see all the little tidbits.
We had a bad
Andy
round.
Cam.
A bad round. We all quit golf. Sold all the clubs.
Sold
No,
it.
We're going to make
We
better use
burned the simulator to the ground.
use
That's
of
not-
that area
not
over
true.
there by making like an arcade.
Yeah, well,
Pinball machines.
This was actually when we first moved into this studio space as Chrome Unboxed. This is where we filmed first. Well, we first tried to film out in the front office. And
Yes,
literally,
that
that
was
was
an absolute
not even an
nightmare.
option.
No.
I think we have
That's-
one video. If you go back and watch, there's one video. Maybe we had
Like, we couldn't
we
pod-
had like
yeah.
blankets up
We
and
couldn't
everything.
podcast there or
Yeah, it was
anything.
so
it was
loud.
horrible.
Yeah, because that was worse than once we moved over to this other one that's got windows. Like, that's still not workable either. That's the one we bought foam and everything to put in the windows.
Tried to make
That
it
was-
work.
That
Yeah.
was a joke, too. But, the front office, the very first one, was
Yeah.
not even close to working. Like, it was an absolute...
Original duet
Catastrophe.
review, some of the COVID videos that we did.
Yeah.
I think we maybe talked about this a little bit last week of the working from home or set up in a backpack video.
Yep.
Those were all filmed in here, and it does give us some more space for filming, which is fantastic. We'll be able to have kind of podcast and Studio A stuff all in here, and
we
then
can slide these tables around. It's not
Yeah.
that big of a deal. And
Yeah.
it gives us a lot more flexibility in here
Yeah.
to use this room but in a much better way.
Yeah, so it's pretty dope. We still obviously have some cleaning. I'd love to get some different artwork up.
Yeah.
Maybe we're gonna swap out some tables and stuff. So cool things happening. None as cool as the news that we got this week.
No.
No, not even close.
Oh, it's pretty cool.
About the Apple Watch.
Apple.
Yes.
Apple. No.
Apple,
Dynamic Island.
Yep.
I have no idea what. I did not
Boom.
watch it. I don't know what that is.
All you need to know.
Get a video.
Dynamic Island.
Do an exploding head on you, Andy Cam. Whoa! Dynamic Island.
Oh, boy.
Ooh.
How long until we
Was
get
it-
an Android phone with a dynamic island
Oh,
on
it's
it?
coming, man.
Soon.
What was Marquez's tweet? This is the most Apple name Apple's
Yeah.
ever done.
This is the most Apple name Apple's ever appled.
Dynamic. Is that their new
Dynamic
headquarters or
Island.
something, or is that a phone feature?
We'll get
No,
there.
it's an island where you can go and just hang out with other.
Is
Apple
it
fans.
actually
Other
dynamic?
dynamic
Is it
people.
actually
Dynamic Apple
dynamic?
fans.
Like, does the island move around?
No,
It's
no.
just a
It's
bunch
the
of
people.
it's just
dynamic people.
It's just a bunch of Andy Cams sitting out on a
It's
beach.
all it is multiple versions of Tim Cook retching his knees the way he was
Knees.
the whole
Oh
time.
my gosh! Please throw that in right now.
Pew, pew,
Yeah, he
pew,
looks like
pew,
he looks like he's a little rootin' tootin' cowboy or something.
Like, what was going on with that?
Everybody has like weird stuff that they do
But
when
he's
they
never
when
done
they
that
speak.
before.
I've never noticed him do that one.
I don't
though.
think he has.
As he was talking, his knee like
He'd keep
one.
popping his knee. Well, anytime he had an emphasis on a thing, he'd pop his knee and he'd go back
So-
and forth. It was like,
And so I
pew,
was.
pew, 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 pew.
Maybe it wasn't really him.
I don't know.
Maybe it was like an AI Tim Cook.
I mean, it could have. It very well could have been.
It's a terrible AI. Like, we got knee twitches. What are we going to do with that? I don't know.
They're
Leave it.
like
Keep it.
They're like
Fine.
they're,
There's a bug in the software. We don't have time to fix it.
What kind of bug is it?
Go out there.
It makes his knees go weird. He
does this.
He's got the Jimmy legs.
Hey.
I don't know.
we can't find it in the code. It's a virus.
Look it up. There's probably a line in there somewhere. Jimmy legs. Just find it. He's got them.
Somebody
colon
left
in there.
one extra colon in there somewhere.
It'll get you every time.
Every single time.
Every time. But no, the more exciting news is
Yes.
that the Google event is happening.
Official.
And
In person.
it's in person.
And it's on October 6th. Like, well, I don't want to say that we said it. It's not like we came up with that.
No, but we've been reporting on that.
That's
Like
what
that's
we've kind of stood by that.
Yeah.
Because Prosser has been pretty good. John Prosser
Right.
over at Front Page Tech has been good about that stuff. He about a month ago said October 6th would be the day of pre-orders, I think, or whatever orders go live for the Pixel 7.
Well, yeah.
And so it was like, well, that it should be around that date. And in the article I did, I was like, well, the one thing is that's a Thursday. They've never held an event on a Thursday ever. It's always been Tuesday, Wednesday. So I was like, maybe it's like it's on Wednesday and the pre-orders go live tomorrow or something. Yeah. I don't know. But no, they're doing it on Thursday.
If Google's blog post is to be read correctly, it won't even be pre-orders. We should be able to get devices that day. Because they said you'll be able to buy them at the googlestore.com and the physical Google stores the day of the event.
The cool part is that's where they're going to do like the sandbox part. So like the hands-on. Instead
it's
of
2
the
buildings down from where the event is, which is so awesome.
So it'll be like, hey, we'll go watch the keynote and then walk over there and go to we haven't been to that Google store.
No.
We haven't been to any Google stores, have we?
No.
Nope.
Because where's
the
other ones?
Chelsea,
Chelsea, right?
Yeah, the other one's in Manhattan. So,
can we go to Dinosaur Barbecue over there?
Of course we can.
Yes. Should be able to.
It's over on the other side, but I mean, honestly, Brooklyn's like 10 miles wide. It's not that big of a deal.
Who cares? We'll do it. Or we'll find a new spot. What about that?
So we might end up having, time's going to be...
Yeah. Time is going to be...
real constrained.
Yeah. We're going to have a packed schedule, but it's super exciting to be in person again for an event.
Yeah.
It's been a while, obviously, and we're really excited. We're still working out our details, our travel details, but some version of Chrome Unbox will be there, and we'll be reporting live from the scene. So, really excited. Let's run through everything that we expect will get announced.
Yeah. So I mean, the known entity is obviously Pixel 7, Pixel 7 Pro, and then Pixel Watch. Those are the headlining things that everybody's waiting for. I'll write it this afternoon, so we can go and talk about it now. There is Ross. I can't think of his last name.
Perot.
No. He's the guy that's kind of been tracking.
I voted for him. What are you talking
He's transitioned to tech.
Yeah. So he's into now.
Great SNL skit, by the way. If you ever want to go back and watch that. I got $6 billion back at home. I'll be fine.
But yeah, I can't think of his last name, but he had prior reported on the screen, like the stuff we knew about the Pixel Notepad. Everybody called it Pixel Fold at the time, saying that the screen was going to be Samsung, and then the foldable glass stuff. Like this dude's like plugged in on display tech. Yeah, like that's kind of what he does. He's in that vein, and he's reporting that they're getting ready to start manufacturing the foldable. So probably like an early 2023 release. So maybe we see a tease of it here, even though we've talked about it here. Like, I don't know that that's the best strategy.
I don't know that it is either.
It's niche enough, I think.
But I think it was a hit at their last event. I mean, them teasing the watch and then the tablet stuff. Which we already knew about the Pixel Watch and everybody's anticipating it. But there's been so many rumors around it and everything. The foldable Pixel. I like the idea of them teasing it. If it's not something. I mean, I guess it depends on when they're going to release it. If they're going to release it in January, then no, it's a bad idea. If they're like, hey, summer of 2023,
he said this report different. Said by March.
Yeah, so
yeah,
because I mean,
it's 6 months.
Yeah, like we said,
like
it's 6 months. We're not everyone's like us. We'll get the 7 and then turn around and get the Fold. But
oh yeah, for sure.
Is it going to deter people from buying the 7? Or like for me, I like my Pixel 6, but my wife and I were talking about this the other day. The battery life issues have gotten really bad, like really bad. My phone stays on the charger all day.
Does this update help you at all?
It has. I got the update yesterday. So far, it seems to be better.
I haven't gotten the update yet.
Mine's way better. Mine was draining too after Android 13.
Mine has been getting crushed.
But I'm still at 50%.
I was even because I'd mentioned it to you, and you were like, "Hey, check your usage and everything." Usage was normal. Instagram pulling a ton of battery like normal, but I'm on there a lot. So
well, that's the problem with mine, is that the battery life was horrid, but when I would go check the battery usage, there was no specific thing that was killing the battery.
Yeah, once I closed out of Instagram, there was nothing specific pulling, and it was still just tanking.
Issues with like screen locking up, like when you try to put it in overview mode or whatever, it'll just freeze, and the only way you can get the apps to move is to lock the screen and unlock it. And my wife was making fun of me about it, but about a week ago, actually we were in Louisville for my birthday, her started doing it. So you'll swipe up to dismiss an app, and it just freezes. It's
I haven't seen that.
So,
anywho,
and it's not like I hate the phone, but at the same time, I'm ready for the Pixel 7.
Me too.
I would like to see the foldable teased. I would, because this will be their first generation. It's not going to be a big seller anyway, but hopefully they've learned enough from their Samsung partners and everyone else that it will be good enough to be like, hey, Google's first swing at this wasn't a complete miss.
Yeah, so, especially like there's that new one by Xiaomi.
The Mix 3. Is it
something?
3?
It's got another name too. Mix
Mr. Mobile unboxed it yesterday.
Mr. Who's the Boss has got a whole video on it too, and the thing is so thin, and it closes completely flat, and it's got a bigger screen technically than the Fold, the Samsung Fold. And
is it more of the notepad orientation?
No,
or is it more of
it's still the outer screen, because it folds flat. It's only 11 I think millimeters thick closed. Modern smartphones are like 9.
Yeah,
so it's barely thicker than
what's Pixelbook? Is that 11?
I think Pixelbook was 11,
yeah.
maybe 13. But it's something like this with a case on it. That's about how wide it is closed, and the display on the outside is a normal resolution, like a normal aspect ratio and everything. It just looks awesome, and it's just one of those things. Like, this is what happens as we keep going generation after generation with a new type of tech. Samsung's been the first to do it, but I think they're being eclipsed right now.
Yeah.
Like, some of the software stuff he showed off on it, like I think Samsung does better, but that's expected. But the software part won't be an issue with the Pixel Notepad. And I think, like, this thing looks huge, like the Xiaomi thing. Like, it looks like when it's closed, like it's a Pixel 6 Pro kind of size, like the 6.7 inch probably. And then imagine opening this thing up. It's huge.
Yeah.
I think what they're looking at doing with the Notepad is, it sounds better to me. I'd rather have a little bit smaller outside phone to have a more manageable unfolded phone. But whatever. I think that's all conjecture at this point. But like, seeing that and seeing the quality of the hinges and the quality of the materials and how thin it is, and the form factor kind of taking shape in the way that you want it to. Like, he shows like a picture of it, closed up flat, and then the fold that still kind of has that C shape, because there's the gap, so the hinge is different, so it pulls the screen back into itself basically as it closes, so it can close all the way. Like, all of that stuff together, I'm like, that's a huge hurdle in the foldable game. Like, they've made a big step, and so I'm hoping some of those things have been in development. Like, they've been messing with this foldable Pixel for so long. Like,
hopefully they're on like the cutting edge.
Like, I just hope it doesn't come out like 2 generations old, looking. So we'll see. And they may not tease it. They may not say anything about it.
And it needs to do the same thing we've been talking about, just the regular Pixel line. It doesn't need to be the latest, best thing you've ever seen. It just needs to do everything very well for a smartphone of this generation. That's all it needs to do.
So then the other main announcement that we know of is the Pixel Watch.
Yeah.
And I am personally super stoked.
Really excited about it.
Cannot wait.
The only thing I'm bummed about is, like, my son's not going to leave me alone about it, so I feel like I'm going to have to buy him one too.
Sure.
I know we're going to get sent home with stuff. They said we would get our review samples. Hopefully we get a little bit of all this stuff, because we write about all of these things. So hopefully we'll have one at least leaving New York. If
at least test it out.
Heck, if the stuff's available, like,
buy them.
Go for it,
buy it. But yeah, he's been talking about the Pixel Watch for 3-4 months.
Yeah.
And how he wants one. And I'm like, oh, dude, you're 8.
I'm hoping T-Mobile does like trade ups. I'm going to trade in my Galaxy Watch.
I don't even know if
that would be interesting. I doubt they'll do that.
Like, if they'll do bill credit type stuff, or they'll do, do such and such, trade in something and get, or whatever. Like, if it's a deal, you get a little bit off.
Do they do watch trade-ins? Andy can't look that up.
I don't know if they do trade-ins. They do. I mean, we got our.
They just do deals.
We got our phone, our Galaxy Watches for free on bill credit. So we're paying.
Right.
We're paying for it, but we're getting them free. But I don't know if they do trade-ins or not.
Because I honestly,
Samsung does.
This Watch 4 that you and I both have, the voicemail thing, just it's such a turn off on
T-Mobile thing.
I know,
though,
but it's like
that will change.
Oh yeah, that might be an issue on Pixel Watch. That would stink. But like,
if it's a carrier thing,
we just have to buy them outright.
I like the watch.
I don't know.
Yeah, I like the watch, but we talked about it, I think, last week about some of the features on the Samsung I can't leverage because I don't have a Samsung device. I would much rather have a Pixel Watch.
And
that's
to get
totally
to get all the
integrated.
good stuff of Fitbit and what Google is calling a reimagined version of Wear OS. So I mean that's been why I've been wanting to write a piece of why I'm skipping the 5. I'm sure the 5's great, but on paper it's not a grand improvement over the 4. Not enough for me to pay $100 more than what I paid for the one I got when the Pixel Watch comes out next month.
Right.
Yeah.
Not gonna happen.
You know, we talked about all that, and I know we talked about inventory and all that kind of stuff too. I just hope there's plenty of them, and because I feel like there's a lot of pent up demand for it. And I hope it delivers.
I wonder when we first wrote about Pixel Watch.
Spring of 2021. Or spring,
Year,
March,
almost
March,
year and a half
about
ago,
a year and a half. Yeah.
I mean, it's a long time
To be-
and it's not like that was the beginning of people going, "Oh, wow, a Pixel Watch! Never thought about that." There have been years of people talking about how they want Google to make the Pixel Watch, and there was rumors of a Pixel Watch. Remember that LG Sport thing?
Oh yeah,
came out like I think that was an early we might do one.
Yeah, I mean it just made sense because for years Wear OS struggled, or what Android Wear, whatever it used to be called, it was on its last leg, and everyone wanted Google to make a watch to be kind of that herald that they've done for Chromebooks and phones and all that stuff. And I don't know, I feel like the timing's definitely right because Wear OS is finally good. It's not great, but it's good. It's really good.
So
I love the whole glanceable thing. That's how my watch kind of works, and so that's the part that excites me. And then for the handful of things I want a little more extended functionality, it's there kind of under the surface. So I'm looking very forward to that.
The battery life on the Samsung has been really good.
Yeah,
for me.
as long as I am, if my phone's near and I'm connected to my phone. Now, if you go out for the day and you don't take your phone with you, it's going to. But I've spent the good majority of a day without it connected to my phone and still at like 35-40% at the end of the day. It's good. Yeah. It's good. So.
So I hope the Pixel Watch has that.
It needs to be at least a day. I mean, you need a day of charge.
Absolutely.
You know? And I don't mean 9 to 5. I mean, you need to go to bed at night and it's still not dead.
Yeah.
So I do see trade-in values for the Galaxy Watch 4.
Sweet.
On Timo?
On Timo.
That or I might just sell mine. It hasn't had much. I go on runs with it every now and then.
Yeah.
But that's about
only
it.
issue there is you'll have to pay it off to clear the SIM.
Right.
Mine's got some golf gunk on it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, I've run in mine and played disc golf in mine, so it's pretty.
Yeah.
it need good cleaning off.
Did you put the glass screen protector on it?
No, because I have the bigger one.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
I got those home and I was like, oh, this isn't gonna fit. I think I brought them back to you. I don't remember. Anywho. Yeah, Pixel Watch is super exciting. We talked about this last week, but $399 for the model with LTE.
LTE, yep.
So we'll have to see what the other models come in at. We're still not totally sure if there's going to be 2 sizes. I think
that's the rumor. I don't know.
But
I hope so.
I hope so. Very much so.
I think it would make more sense if there's 2.
Yeah, and I mean you can't put out. I think like the most basic size, a 40. What is my larger 44?
44. Yeah.
Yeah, you can't put that on a smaller wrist. It would look.
Yeah, it's too big.
Mine's the Samsung that I have is almost too big for my
and
wrist.
I have the smaller Galaxy Watch 4, and I like it. I really do. I especially like it when we go play golf and we do stuff where I'm doing a lot of steps, whatever. But it feels dainty. It's perfect for my wife, but I'm like, if I would rather have the 44. I got the 40 and was like, it'll do what I need it to do because I only wear it when I'm usually like active doing something. Yeah, which is like once a month.
Yeah. I need to go run
because of my brain.
I need to go run so I can have more energy, but I don't have enough energy to go run.
I can't run right now anyway.
Yeah. So Pixel 7 and 7 Pro, we were talking about this hazel color that you've kind of been eyeballing.
I'm into it.
Is it just gray or does it have a green? Somebody who isn't color deficient. What colors
I
are
see
they?
no
What's
green
it look like
in
on
that,
your screen,
but,
Andrew?
Or pull it up on Google Store.
I still see gray with a bit gold or brass on the visor.
It's not rose
it's
gold.
There's no green in it, huh?
I don't see any.
What is hazel?
I thought hazel was a brown green.
That's what I thought.
Yeah,
too.
like hazel eyes. It's brown green.
Right.
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense.
That's a dumb name. Well, and they've done that a few times where, like, are all the color names out already? Is everything official on the color names?
Yeah, it's on the store.
Yeah. Dang it. I was gonna say they have changed their
See,
names
man, that
before.
looks rose gold to me. No, it looks brass in this picture.
Brass.
That looks rose.
Brass.
If it's rose gold, I'm out.
But I
That's
do
not
have
happening.
another shot that looks slight tint of green.
Okay.
We saw this
in person too.
But we
That's the
saw
thing.
this with
Yeah.
the 6s, though. Official press materials, the colors weren't exactly what they looked like when they actually released
Yeah.
those.
Yeah.
So.
Right.
Renders aren't always accurate.
And was it the 5A that turned out to be super green, and in the
Yeah.
photos it didn't look that green? And yeah, sometimes these, these
I
might be
still can't-
actual.
I can't see the green in the 5A at all. Like,
yeah,
I
it's
look at
a
it, I'm like,
strange color.
This is what it was. That guy that got his hands on one and unboxed it, that I think looked really green. Yeah, but yeah,
Yeah.
who knows? We'll know when we see them.
And that's the thing. Like some of these look obviously like actual product photography. Like these are the devices laying out there, but I'm sure they doctor the crap out of them.
And they may not even be the actual
Yeah, those-
devices.
yeah.
Those could just be
might-
renders.
It could be renders. Yeah. Yeah.
100%. Yeah.
We've seen how good the renders can be with some of the stuff that John Prosser shows.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
yeah.
People can make these things look
Oh, yeah.
exactly
100%.
like that. So how many colors on the
I think it's 3 and
the
3,
phone?
isn't it? I'd have to go look
3
it
and
up,
3.
or Andrew can look at that up. But I'm pretty sure if you go to the Google store, store.google.com, they're on there. But I think it's 3 of each. I'm just trying to remember what the colors are now.
I
So
don't-
there's the hazel, and then there's the like a smoky white gray kind. I think there's a similar to the one that's on the screen there. And then in the Pro, I want to say it's like a black and a white, and then that
Is
hazel.
there a
basically.
limoncello?
Only in the 7. It's that.
Is it really?
that color
That right
down
there?
there?
Okay.
Yeah. So you got the white. I love the white gray colorway.
Oh
Like,
yeah,
that's my favorite.
Yeah.
And I think there's something similar to that in the Pro as well. But that hazel is that's striking to me.
Yeah.
I really like that.
Yeah, I'm excited to see it in
What
person.
you got, Andrew?
Yeah, it's 3 colors on each: obsidian, hazel, and snow on the 7 Pro,
Okay,
and obsidian, lemongrass, and snow on the 7.
so it's
Is
lemongrass,
snow
not
is
limoncello.
snow white and gray on both of them?
It is, but on the Pro, it's got a different type of white.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
The
changed it
obsidian is like black and gray, right? Like ebony black
Yeah.
and gray. I think I'm going obsidian
Yeah.
just because it sounds cool.
Yeah. I've been
My
rocking.
Pixel 6 is that black gray combo. It's nice.
I've been rocking the
I don't
black
even know
gray
what
on
color.
on that one.
Yeah, mine's black.
It's
I've-
black gray.
I've been buying the same case here for a while. This Spigen, that's a black case, so whatever color the phone is doesn't
I
really
have
matter. so
I have to.
I'd love to
admit,
get back to
yeah,
a clear case.
I have
though.
bought Spiegens for years since I switched to OnePlus, but I bought this Google one because they had it at the local Best Buy.
It is. I like.
Google's had some
good looking
pretty
case. Yeah,
shoddy cases in the past.
That's a good one though.
This one's good.
What was that one that was the one where you could get your own image on it? Remember
Oh,
that? And
the
I
living-
got it in. It was literally
oh,
the slipperiest
dude.
phone case.
That was that was back in the Nexus days.
But my fear with this was that it was gonna like some dude get really start to loosen up over time. Man, this thing is
Yeah, that's a nice
tank.
case.
It's like almost hard case except for the buttons.
except for around the
It's a
buttons.
nice-
And I will admittedly, I have dropped this a couple times.
Yeah, yeah. It's crazy how these slim cases can protect your phone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it mine speaking?
No,
Yep.
you
It's
got.
not, it's Spigen.
Oh, it is. I'll be
I
darned.
had the Rinky Fusion.
that was
before.
the other one.
Basically-
These are good too.
Basically the same case as
Yeah.
this. This one's starting to get a little discolored at the TPU on the
Yeah.
edges, but
Yeah.
the
you
nature
won't
of
be
the
with me
beast.
too much longer.
Maybe
buddy.
maybe Moment will be there and give us some
some more moments.
That
give
was
us
pretty
some
I think they've
cases.
Well, they stopped making the app for Android. I'm assuming they might stop making lens cases for Android
Yeah.
phones too.
I didn't know they stopped making the app. I haven't been super plugged in there.
Yeah,
I haven't used
and
Moment
we
lenses
looked-
in a minute.
I think Andrew said
unfortunately.
something to me about it, and I looked. It had been like a while.
Yeah, it's been a bit.
It's
Just probably
yeah,
didn't have the same adoption that.
It was. They just said it was too much to try to keep up with, and so
Developers
Which
aren't
I mean,
cheap.
is what it is. You build your app for iPhone and you have a closed ecosystem, a set number of processors and
Yep.
things to work on, and they're doing some pretty intense stuff in those apps
Yeah.
too. So
yeah.
So those are the main announcements that we're expecting.
And there's the other maybe possible.
Yeah,
This
I mean,
Pixel
we know
Ultra.
there's other. Yeah, we know there's other stuff. We just don't have. We don't know for
Yeah, we
sure.
don't know.
So
Like the Pixel Ultra is a possibility.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I have a hard time believing it wouldn't have leaked by now.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some stuff out
Something.
there. There is something out there, but it could just be a testing device or I don't know. I don't know what it is. There's another device clearly out there. But I do not foresee it showing up at this, and I don't foresee them teasing some even better than the Pixel Pro regular Pixel. That the Pixel Fold, I think they can get away with a tease because it's almost just a different group of people that phone goes after. Like, you're going to spend more money on your phone, and you want something that's just a little weird. There's just some stuff you got to deal with a foldable phone that I don't think people that want a standard slab phone those are different markets. Right. A Pixel Ultra 7 Ultra would absolutely cannibalize the Pixel 7 Pro. Absolutely. It would just eat it up, and so I don't foresee that happening. But that's one of the other rumors that's hanging out.
What else?
So the Google's page does say that they are announcing some new Nest smart home products. So we know that there's a new Nest Wi-Fi coming.
Whoop, whoop.
They'll probably
Wi-Fi
mention
6.
that. Yeah, so Wi-Fi 6.
We will get that. If they don't get that in the bag to bring home, we will buy one.
I do think there might be like either a new doorbell or a new camera. There's going to be some new camera stuff maybe, and it may just literally, hey, by the way, we've got this stuff coming. It'll
updated,
be in store.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah.
And so they got that, and then
any Chromecast?
The Chromecast, which I'm finishing that up as soon as we get done here. There's been rumors since January of an HD Chromecast, which still makes absolutely no sense, and that's what we talked about this morning. And I'm putting in my article. It's coming. They're probably going to announce it there because there's a retailer overseas that already has them. They're not available, but they have them, physically have them, and they had told WinFuture that they did. But it's HD, and that's all we really know about it. It has a newer but less powerful processor than the regular Chromecast, and it's only going to be $20 less than the regular 4K Chromecast. So,
weird. They do.
It's really weird.
They have hands-on devices.
That's what I went back and read it, which WinFuture's German, so it translated. But the way it reads is they have them, and they are going to be selling them soon. So
I don't get it. I'll be super interested if they put it in the keynote, like how they leverage.
So
and here, talk about it.
And here's my twist, and this will be out before we do the podcast. Two things. One, the last HD Chromecast they did was not a Google TV. It was just the dongle. So you had the Chromecast and you had the Chromecast Ultra. It makes sense to update it with a remote and the Google TV interface if there's another companion device to go with it. But I don't think the regular 4K Google TV is that device because they're too close in price.
Right.
So to me, it makes sense, one of two things. Either one, Google has acknowledged that their software is slow and that there's not enough storage on the Chromecast. They've even told manufacturers you need to put more storage. Because how many times have you all ran out of storage? I do quite a bit. This is going to be a 1080p Chromecast, but it's going to have a crap ton of storage. That would be great. Yeah. And it would be worth it. Or they're going to launch this. It's going to be $30, like they're saying. And they're also going to launch a new 4K one that has more RAM, better processor, more storage space, and it's going to be $89 or whatever. Yeah. But there's been zero rumors of that device. Right. However, the processor in the current one is not bad. I mean, it works. It gets around just fine. They could plausibly take that device, update the RAM and the storage, not pass it through the FCC until the day before because it's not a new device, it's an update.
Yeah,
No one would know about it if that's what they did because they've done it before.
And would these so the lower end one is just a regular Chromecast without
it is labeled Chromecast HD with Google TV.
Cool.
So it will be a HD streaming stick with a remote. So
yeah.
And again, the only place I see that making sense, like a couple years ago, no big deal, but now, like, most people are moving slowly but surely to 4K. There are some homes, or maybe like for kids' rooms or stuff like that, where you'd be like, oh, cool, like we're still rocking a good old 1080p screen in here, no big deal. But there's all sorts of digital projectors and situations in public spaces where 1080p is still a very normal thing.
Right. And if you need
display,
if you need to outfit a ton of TVs in a school or church or wherever it may be, you can buy the regular Chromecast for $19 right now. So why put out a new cheap Chromecast unless there's something else coming with it, or it has some major advantage that you can't get from the current? Because you can still buy the Walmart 4K one for $19 and it's for all intents and purposes, the same thing as the Chromecast with Google TV.
It's a super weird move. Like I'll be interested to see if they put it in the keynote exactly how they position that.
Yeah.
Like,
what's the angle here?
Yeah, I'm curious to know why you think this is a good idea.
Yeah.
And it may not even be
Please
in
tell
it.
me.
It may just be part of their
press
keyword
release.
blog. You know, hey, there's a new thing.
I
But
feel like that's the case. And again, I'll be interested then to read it.
I wanted
it
its
to be
code name is
positioned.
Boreal, like the Boreal Mountains in California, which Borealis is Steam on Chrome OS. When it first was discovered, I really wanted to make some kind of connection, like, oh, this is going to be a gaming, but why do a gaming stick that's not 4K when you have 4K content coming for a lot of the streaming services? So I think that's completely unrelated, but it would have been really cool.
Yeah.
We'll know more soon.
Yeah,
One way or another.
And other than that, I don't. Like we were talking about this the other day. The $99 Nest Audio is still an amazing speaker, and it's great for $99. But it's 2 years old now. It's been a minute.
I don't
When
remember.
did they put the Nest Audio out? Was it
It was a
CES thing?
No, it was a spring Nest. It was a Nest hardware because I sat in on the Q&A.
It was at least 2020.
Yeah,
Handy
so
cam?
it would have been
Before.
spring of 2020, I think.
So at least a couple years old. I mean, I don't know what do you do to upgrade
Yeah,
that?
I don't know what they would do to upgrade it. They could. Who knows? Touchscreen, whatever. Hopefully it's nothing gimmicky, but I just thought it was funny because lately I've been getting a ton of ads in my news feed for the Nest Audio specifically. And Google doesn't usually advertise older hardware like that. So
Yeah.
Liquidate them.
it feels like it's getting liquidated, but I could be wrong.
Yeah.
Maybe they've changed their ways and they were like, you know what, the guys at Chrome Unbox were right. We need to make the Google Home Max again.
Yes.
I
Bring
mean,
it back.
We're,
Please do.
we're normally
Nest
right.
Audio
Yeah.
Max.
Nest Audio
Done.
Max.
Nest Audio was announced on September 30th, 2020.
I'll be doggone.
2020.
September. It was a
Oh.
Nest. It was a.
Then that's part of the launch night in.
That's
yeah.
right. Yeah, those stupid boxes we had to try to put together. We got some cool socks though.
That was
Yeah.
super weird.
It was real
Yeah.
weird.
It was so weird.
It was. They were trying to make it fun.
They
No,
were,
that was the Nest Hub Gen 2. That was the one that I sat in on, and I don't expect any new Nest display.
I've not heard anything about that because I think
Rumor has it
that tablet up there on the screen is
Yeah.
going to be the next.
the Pixel tablet will be some sort of detachable Nest Hub thing. That's not to say they won't put a new one out, but the current Gen 2 Nest Hub is still great, and they still haven't updated it with the Fitbit features that are supposed to be coming, and it's like $59.
Yeah.
I know. I keep thinking like I want to get one of those for our bedroom. Like my son's got one in his bedroom, and I'm always like, man,
Oh, I upgraded to the next tier of Google One, so I should have a free one coming.
sweet.
Nice.
I mean, if you don't want it, I'll take it. I mean, it's free. You don't.
It's
you
free.
Don't need
You
it.
don't need
It's
it.
not really free. I paid however much I did to upgrade.
It's like over the next 5 years, I'm going to pay for it like 10 times.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
dropped $100 for extra. I needed it though. I was at like 94% on my
Oh, dang.
on my Google
dang.
Drive.
What do you have? What do you got on there,
all
bro?
those video projects I've been working on.
those add up.
I need to start using external hard drives and stuff. So.
Yeah.
I say,
Welcome to the world of video editing.
Oh, it's great.
Physical hard
It's like,
drives.
that was at 13%
Super
the other
fun.
day.
Me and Andy Cam have like 3 different drives, and it's like some projects will have to have them all plugged in all at the same time because it's like, oh man, that one audio clip's over on that thing, and I need to relink it and all this. It's like, yeah.
The last thing we got to talk about is I would assume they'll tease a little bit more on the Pixel tablet.
Oh
I would
yeah,
think.
yeah. Which
maybe
is
a bit
up in
more
the
detail.
corner up
Yeah,
there.
I would think there'd be a little bit more detail on it. I'd be surprised if they don't say something.
Yeah,
about
it would be
missing-
weird.
we're
It would almost be weird if they teased it at a previous event and then this one rolls by and they don't say a word.
Say
Like, you
anything
need to
about
at
it.
least acknowledge it and maybe give us some
a few
more details.
deets would be nice. It'd be really cool if they were just like, yes, you all are correct. It's going to be a dockable thing.
Yeah, and like an all new interface. You know, the new Nest tablet interface where you dock it and it's your smart home, and then you.
Well, the recent stuff that's come out about it is like it's going to be using the first gen because everybody thought they were going to make a Tensor, tablet kind of situation chip or something, and that's why they were putting it off. But right now, the reports are showing that it's Gen 1 Tensor, like 4 gigs of RAM or something. Like it's minimal.
it's a,
like
a basic tablet.
yeah, it's like Pixel 6a, not even that much. And
Yeah.
so they're not, and the way I read it, is they're not trying to position it to be like, hey, we're going to make a tablet that competes with the iPad. Like everybody's kind of learned their lesson with that, I think. Other than Samsung,
Yeah.
Samsung just keeps getting up off the mat and swinging.
Still though, that chip, because I think about like before my son got the Chromebook that he has now, he had the 10e, which was the older MediaTek. It struggled doing a lot of Android games. The chip, the 6A or whatever, the Tensor chip in that kind of tablet would be perfect for him. I mean, it's not going to be a Chromebook, obviously. It's going to be an Android tablet, but it better be dockable, because if it looks like it did in those renders from the thing and it's not a dockable tablet, it looks rough.
Because the pogo pins were on the back, right?
So they were like lower middle.
So it's not a keyboard.
No, but you imagine something that looks like the latest Pixel stand with pogo pins in the back, just magnetically pops it on there. I mean, it'd be really neat. And then it's this device that's meant to be at your house, and you're using it as the Nest Hub Max, basically. Because the dock could have a dope speaker on it.
Yeah,
they can do all the face tracking and everything they do with
calls. It's essentially like, oh hey, I'm somebody's calling me. And I want to be able to grab it and go talk to them while I'm walking or whatever, or I'm working on a recipe and I'm pointing in my kitchen because mine's over in the corner. Like, sometimes I have a hard time seeing because I have the smaller one. It's like I kind of have a hard time seeing it over in the corner. Yeah. So if I could pop that off and then put it right in front of where I'm cooking. Like stuff like that. It's not a full blown.
It's in your living room. It's showing pictures. You pull it off, show those pictures around, and then you need to look up something. You slide it up, and it's a full browser.
Yeah, and it's not like this is a far cry. Lenovo did this with a couple of devices. The Tab M8. We had one in here for a while. I think we sent it back.
They were trying to make that whole.
The concept was good. Theirs kind of failed on the processor side. They weren't, but
and the software wasn't quite there.
It wasn't quite there, but the idea was you take it off. You've got a pure Android tablet. When you pop it on and those pogo pins connect, the assistant takes over. You get a little bit of the Nest display kind of stuff. You get the tiles that you get on the Nest display and the ambient screen and all that. And with Android and a Google tablet, that will be super easy.
Yeah, and especially like if Google, it's a Pixel tablet, so Google has full control over what they want to do with that. So I mean, you might see some specialized stuff with this. Like when it's docked, they might be able to just bring in the Nest Hub interface onto it, when it's docked. Like, it's not, this is some new thing. Like, no, this is going to be...
It could just load up that...
It will do what the Nest Hub does. When you pop it off there, it loads into Android.
Yeah. It boots Fuchsia.
Yeah, I mean...
Right,
It could run Fuchsia. Well, we don't know.
That's why Ron just published the article about the Chromecast about an hour ago, and he didn't say that they were. He just said if they were to do this and use Fuchsia for the new Chromecast, which they totally could... Nest and all of Google's accessory stuff could essentially move to just Fuchsia. Yeah,
because I mean, a lot of the work on Fuchsia is still being done to make it, compatible to run Android applications and stuff like that. So I mean, it could. I feel like that we're probably not there for them to launch in 2023. But
so for those who are listening who aren't familiar with Fuchsia, like what is it exactly?
We don't know. It's another OS that Google maintains. It has for a while.
It has something to do with Rust and I don't know. It's not Linux based.
No, it's not a Linux.
So it has its own kernel, and that
I can't remember what the name of the kernel is now.
So there's Magenta, and so it has its own kernel, which is like the core of the operating system. But it's Fuchsia is the OS, and there's a couple of specific flexible programming languages that they use to build for it, and it's just supposedly it's more flexible than some of the regular mobile operating. It can be like desktop, IoT. I think initially it started out as IoT, and then Google and developers figured out, hey, this is really flexible because they've already pushed it to all the Nest Hubs, right?
The Nest Hubs, all run.
If you have a Nest Hub, it's running on Fuchsia, and you didn't even know it. That's how seamless and flexible it is.
That's what makes me think still, like with Fuchsia, that while they're not advertising this and they're not going to make a big deal about it, if they're working on all this compatibility to make everything work across the stuff they're learning with Chrome OS now and containers and cross compatibility and compatibility layers and all that kind of stuff, I could see, and I feel like this would be way down the road, I could see them replacing all of it with Fuchsia.
Yeah.
Eventually. If it can run Android apps in the Play Store and everything, then you could replace Android on Pixel phones with Fuchsia and nobody would know.
And that's the thing. It won't matter. You don't look at your smart display and go, I wonder what operating system that's running. What operating system is on? Yeah, the Chromecast with Google TV. What operating system is that?
Remember the
I guess
old,
it's technically Google TV, but it was Cast OS a long time ago.
Yeah, back in the day, and that was based on Chrome OS at one point,
right.
And then it was a weird hybrid of Chrome OS and Android, and now it's Android TV,
right,
with a skin on top. Like, but nobody kept up with that crap.
It doesn't matter.
Nobody cares.
No.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, like, other than knowing what version of Android you're on, just so that you know that it's up to date, people don't care about that either, to be honest. I mean, you really don't care, if the phone you bought is running Oxygen OS or whatever. Like, well, that's right, Android or something underneath that, right? Sure, it's basically Android.
I mean, they could call it Google. They could take Fuchsia and build a mobile phone version of it and call it Google OS.
Yeah,
like,
do whatever they want.
Whatever.
I mean, they could replace Chrome OS with it way down the road if they wanted to. I mean, they could
Pixel
do all
OS.
of that stuff. I mean,
Whatever.
they could.
Yeah.
But I feel like Google's finally figured out, like, with something like this, like, why don't we just slow play this? We'll work on it, and if we get to the point where we're absolutely positive we can make that move, then we'll think about it.
Right.
But for
it's
right
just
now,
it's just like Android apps on
yeah.
Chrome OS. They went one direction with it, and then a couple of years in, realized that ArcVM and all of that was the better way to go because of the work they'd done on containers and everything. So what they're doing is working, and then if along the way you find something that works better, then you just find a way to integrate that into the system, and everything just works.
And it's like the Android and Chrome OS have matured to a point where it's like those are out there doing their thing. Like let's not disrupt everything. Let's not throw this new thing out there. Like work on it in the background, get it to where it's in a good spot, and then maybe
there might come a day where they're like, this won't work.
Right.
Like there's no point in making this work. Let's forget about this.
So I'm sure there's some.
Because everybody wants to act like, because Google's been like that over the years, where they've been a little bit schizophrenic with stuff, and they'll just kind of go with things and try it. And I think there was this energy when Fuchsia first showed up, like that's what Google's going to do. They're going to replace everything. This is the all-in-one OS, and it's like, no, I don't think that's the case. Could be down the road. Who knows? I mean, who knows about anything down the road?
And that's the thing. This always makes me think of Andromeda, and I love going back and reading all those articles we wrote about Andromeda. There was such a stink about it. But no one ever really gave a logical reason as to why they were still worried about it. Google is a company, just like anyone else, who relies on its customers, whether they be search customers or ad customers or hardware, whatever, for their revenue. That's where the revenue always comes from people. And if you do something that's going to be detrimental to the services you offer, you're going to be hurting your bottom line.
Right.
So if they replace an operating system with something else, it's going to be for the benefit of their customers because they want their customers to be happy because they want more money. It's pretty simple.
I think it's this tribal thing that people get into. I mean,
yeah.
And we fall accustomed to life. We're going to talk about the Apple event here in a minute. You'll hear it. You'll hear it in some of the stuff that we'll poke fun at Apple and, like we're Android / Chrome OS, Google people.
I won't, Andrew.
He will.
Not.
He will. You can't help it.
I've got a list over here.
But but people get like really crazy about the tribal nature of like operating system.
Yeah,
like,
it's true.
Why is this identifying you as a person? Like, I choose to use a Google phone, but I like Google stuff. That's what I like.
And if you don't know what that's like or what that looks like because you live in whatever ecosystem and you're fine living in that, go do a little bit of research on the countless flavors of Linux that are out there and see how those people act towards each other. That's a prime example because I'm like, okay,
we're all on the same team.
You're using the same stuff at the core, and it's all open source software, and it's like nobody. I'm not. I mean, we crack fun on Andrew about the Apple stuff, but I'm not over here trying to force him to use an Android phone. You know? I mean, we could. He works for us, but like when you're in the office.
We're putting that in his contract next year.
You will rue the day that video editing comes to Chromebooks.
Sorry.
Oh, yeah, it's going to be bad.
I was walking in earlier, and Gabe was driving up, and he said, he started a motion to turn towards me and said, hey, you need to get that Pixel 7 Pro.
Or else.
Yeah,
that's how that happens.
I'm going to hit you with my car.
I was just trying not to hit that. Did you see that guy that couldn't drive the truck?
Oh, yeah. He almost
That was
hit me.
horrible.
Yikes.
Don't talk about Joe that way.
Yeah.
No, it was the produce truck for the coffee shop.
Wow. Okay, well, there you have it. There are some thoughts on some new Google hardware coming soon, October 6th. We're going to be live in some form or fashion.
Brooklyn.
We'll see you there.
In Brooklyn, and we're obviously going to do hands-on. We're going to have articles, everything, so make sure to stay tuned to chromeunbox.com. Okay, we're going to take a quick break for an ad and come right back. Alrighty, welcome back, everyone. Let's stay on event stuff. Let's talk about the Apple event.
I don't want to.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yes, let's
do it. What all they
Talk about
announced, Andy
something
Cam?
else.
What all they announced,
What's
Andy
new,
Cam?
Andy
Yes,
Cam?
enlighten
What's new?
me, because the only news
What's
I've
new?
seen from the Apple event is that
Dynamic Island.
no, I don't know what that is. All I learned was that Tim Cook wants me to buy an iPhone for my grandma. That's all I got.
Your mom.
Oh,
Your mom.
if she in case she falls?
No.
That's the
another-
watch.
that's
That's
another
the
one I
watch.
saw. Is
No,
it-
is it the phone or the watch?
Did you see Linus Tech Tips? He basically was like, yeah, you buy an iPhone or else if you don't want to die. He's like, I've never seen such fear mongering.
Yeah, it was pretty wild. But what they
Like,
announced?
hey,
what they
there's going
announced?
to be like 6 people that need a sat phone connection because they took only their phone out into the middle of nowhere,
man.
and they're going to need it.
van life, people out hiking is becoming
Hey,
more and more popular.
T-Mobile
so I would say,
and SpaceX, buddy. Got you covered.
I would
Not
say
yet,
there's
though.
I would say there's several people that probably go on
No,
hikes where they
he
might
was
need it,
asked
but-
about RCS.
Yeah.
and he said,
Oh,
he
yeah,
said, what if
okay.
I want to send
I s-
pictures to my mom?
He said,
and he
I
said,
would
buy her
convert
an
them.
iPhone.
I would convert them to iPhone. You should just buy her an iPhone.
I saw I
Yeah.
saw
convert.
Yeah, I know.
Jeez.
Talk about some religious propaganda.
yeah, crazy.
Jeez.
Convert her. So what they announced? New phones, new watches.
I told you there'd be some ribbing.
That's right.
We can't help ourselves.
We can't help ourselves.
I mean, to be honest, I actually did not watch it.
Well, you were out running around.
Yeah, I
yeah,
had
you
some
watched a little
errands
bit.
to run, and I didn't even follow up afterwards. So
We watched. I don't know. We tuned in like the second half. I
I'm
think.
not a good Apple fan anymore.
We had
Yeah,
missed.
seriously.
We missed all the watch stuff, didn't we? That's
Yeah.
what we missed.
Well, Google it because I don't know everything. I
Yeah, so
think
we
I know
got-
everything.
Because you can't
The
Apple
14,
it because they don't
14
do that.
All right, 14,
Uh,
14 plus.
Then you have the Pro Max, the Watch Ultra, AirPods Pro.
Oh yeah, AirPods Pro
Okay.
too. That was
Yeah.
because the same day Bose was putting out their
Yeah.
They're new.
their
Which is really
whatever.
weird.
It's their second version of their ANC earbuds, which I've read some really good things about. They're
Yeah.
$300
When
Yeah.
did Samsung announce their last buds? How long
at their
ago?
event.
It was
When is
recent,
it?
wasn't
Last
it?
month,
I've
yeah.
not been
Couple
reading
weeks ago.
good things. Bad things. Bad
So that's everything.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's it.
That's it.
There's probably
18
there was
phones.
a
Lame.
new chip, the Bionic 16 or something.
Yeah.
Oh, it is the first time that they announced new phones with last year's chip. Correct. Because I think somebody was saying something about that. I thought they did that before.
They did that with the SE.
Yeah.
They didn't do it with a flagship phone.
Yeah.
That's what it was. Yeah.
Yeah. So the iPhone.
So they didn't
iPhone-
announce. There's no computer stuff at this event, correct?
No,
That-
this
that's
is all
their
mobile.
okay, good. Because
Yeah,
I
no.
figured shopping for an Apple device, they would have announced like the M3 or something.
Yeah,
like
no,
that.
no Macs, no iPads. This is phone,
That's all
watch,
phones, yeah.
ears.
So the two regular phones
Still have
Still
the
have the
regular
notch. Regular
they're
notch.
basically the iPhone 13 Pro.
with the 16 though.
No, it has the
That's
A15.
15.
So it still has the same processor as
But
last
it's
year.
apparently slightly faster
Yeah.
somehow. So
Interesting.
that's what they say.
And
no,
then
I think that's what it was. So they did this last year, but they tweaked the processor a little bit to make it faster. This is the first time they took the Pro processor and stuck it in a new device this year. And whoever it was that was breaking it down, it was Mr. Who's the Boss. He made a great point. He was like, so they're getting rid of the mini device, which was their cheapest.
Yeah.
And they've, technically speaking, replaced it. So you had the iPhone 13, and you had the iPhone 13 mini or whatever, and then you had the Pros. Well, they got rid of this, and they added the iPhone 14 Plus, which is a bigger iPhone, which is $899. So he's like,
Yeah.
you've just introduced a new phone, got rid of a $600 phone, and introduced a $900 phone.
yeah, interesting. Yeah,
If
I didn't
people
think
buy
about
it,
that.
and he showed the percentage of people that bought the mini was super tiny. He's like, it's a quarter of their phone lineup, and it sold like 1% of their, or 2% or something like that. So they got rid of it and put in a higher cost phone, but it's the first time they've used, just basically regurgitated the chips.
So how many phones do they have?
It'll be 4 again.
But it's like these two are same vein and these two are same vein?
Yeah, basic plus.
Okay.
or Pro.
And these two have last year's chip.
Yeah.
See, to me, that makes perfect sense, though. That's no different than a company like Samsung having flagship with Snapdragon, the flagship, whatever, and then our cheaper one with last year's Snapdragon or that 700 series. Why make a new mediocre chip when you could just use last year?
Here's where I push back, and this is where Mr. Who's the Boss said this. Like, I was like, that's a great point. He's like, it's the first time we're ever seeing any company put last year's hardware inside of something and charge new phone prices for it.
Right.
So it's not discounted.
Agreed.
Like, these are brand new phone prices. So to put it better into perspective, because there's so many models and all of a sudden it gets a little cloudy. Imagine if they launched the Pixel 7 Pro and the Pixel 7. Pixel 7 had Tensor in it. Pixel 7 Pro had Tensor 2, and they still charged the same price they did last year for both models.
That
would not be
not
okay.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
And that's exactly what Apple's doing here.
Yeah.
Apple would be ballsy enough to. So, say you've got your standard 14, your standard 13. This chip goes to the 14. They charge more for this one than they did the 13. They would do that. I guarantee it.
Yeah.
And people would buy it.
Yeah.
And
I thought
because
I read
the Mini has
something,
been replaced with this Maxi or whatever. I can't remember what it is. What was it? Plus?
Max
Plus.
It goes back to
like
Plus.
Yeah.
So what's the...
Because they had Plus all the way from, 6?
Yeah.
6 Plus, yeah.
It's the Pro Max. That's what's getting
Max
me.
is the
Pro and Pro Max.
So why wouldn't it just be iPhone Max? I guess because it's not to the max. It doesn't have
not
all the
Pro.
cool. It's not also ultra and awesome.
It's not Max. It's not Maxi enough.
It's maxless.
It doesn't have enough Max in it.
Anywho, so the 14
wow.
Basically has the same screen as last year's phone.
Yeah.
Still has the notch. Same build. The camera thing looks the exact same. I'm pretty sure it's the same cameras too, or pretty close. There's not a whole lot new in the new iPhones,
right?
And those the Pros are where they did the new stuff, and
yeah.
For whatever reason. I mean, I guess since you got to think of it different than Android, you know, like it would feel ridiculous for Samsung to put out 4 phones at one time, which I guess they do 3, don't they?
Mm-hmm.
So they do the 22, they did 22 Plus, 22 Ultra, but it feels like one phone with better specs and bigger things. This feels like 2 very different lines of phones this time around from Apple. And so I guess they'll sell just because they're cheaper or whatever. I don't know how many people would upgrade, especially from any of the 13s. Like, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, from 13, I agree.
It won't happen.
What it is you see, I'm getting last year's stuff, but I'm getting a new iPhone, and that's where the people that just want the newest iPhone
that maybe skipped last year's too.
I still technically have a new iPhone. Yes, it's older stuff, but so what?
And this is where we Android
iPhone.
people get a little irritated by all this. It's just like,
did
really?
they? I thought they did say something about they tweaked the processor from last year to make it faster.
It's
like they.
So it's going to have overheating problems. Is what you're telling me?
Battery woes.
It's going to drain your battery. Yeah.
Yeah. So there just wasn't anything really super exciting. The satellite stuff they added in. So basically, it can pick up on a satellite signal and send very basic messages in the case of an emergency. Yeah. And it has a thing to help you point it at the satellite. As long as you're under clear skies and everything's perfect, it may be able to get an emergency thing out. My take on that is if you're going to go out far enough where the only thing you've got is satellite connectivity, you're probably the type of person that has some sort of satellite device that would hopefully, like, if you're a careful, conscious person, and you're also saying that this phone, if I'm out in an emergency situation, I don't have charging capabilities either. Your emergency better happen within the first day. Yeah. Because if not, that's not going to do you any good either. So it feels a little gimmicky to me, and it's a ballsy move by Apple because now you're creating this idea that this phone is going to save your life. Like, this is going to be your lifeline, and I'm like, oof. The way cell phone technology works and stuff like this, especially Generation 1, like, I wouldn't want to be anywhere near it. I wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot stick because.
But people do it all the time, unfortunately. I mean, there are a lot of wayward traveler Instagrammers that just go wherever.
I don't. Right, but again, if you get lost and you wake up the next day, your phone's going to be dead anyway. Right. So you're not that message isn't going to go out. Like it. I don't know. It's a ballsy thing for. They spent a lot of time on this.
It was a very long presentation, and it did come off a bit like a little fear-mongering
for sure.
type thing. I do think there's I do. I think about like a lot of folks my age that are the Instagram hiker. I have several friends that go to all the national parks and do all that stuff. Like, there's not a lot of cell phone coverage out there.
Yeah,
sure.
Yellowstone. I mean, I remember. I mean, that was years ago, but not having hardly any cell phone service the whole way, and I'm not gonna go get a.
I'll be honest though, I think
satellite phone for that.
While I think that kind of thing makes sense, I think what T-Mobile's going to be doing with SpaceX
makes more sense.
Way more sense. Like they're going to create a technology basically that allows basic communications from a whole grid of satellites with general cell phone.
Any phone, and it kind of feels like maybe that's what Apple's done here. Apple has taken this as an opportunity to instill enough fear, because the T-Mobile announcement was huge, and I'm sure a lot of people saw that, but more people are going to hear about Apple
100%.
satellite stuff than they did about T-Mobile and SpaceX. So now I'm like, well, I'd really love to have that feature. I'm going to have to switch to iPhone. No, you don't. Just wait. T-Mobile roll it out next year.
Yeah, and any phone that you have will do this.
Right. You don't have to have this brand new iPhone.
Right, because they're putting cellular technology via satellite
Ooh,
instead of the other way around.
I wonder if the watches have the bands for that band. That would be dope.
They didn't. Yeah, I don't know.
We just have to look up the bands are listed in the press release. We would just have to look and see what bands are on the watch.
Yeah, and so you're talking now Android or Wear OS bands and the T-Mobile stuff working.
Yeah, the
cellular, not the Apple. watches.
Cellular bands. I'm just I'm like, dude, that would be dope. You're out in the middle of nowhere. Your phone's dead, but your watch is still on, and you can access that.
Yeah,
that'd be dope.
Yeah, it's interesting technology. It's cool to see. In these special circumstances, for something like this to be available, it is interesting. The presentation was a bit too much.
Yeah.
And it was long. It was really long.
It's these promises as if this is something that besets humanity on a general basis for most people. And it's just not. I mean, Apple makes phones for the general fat middle public group of people, not for the not for the people on the edges and the fringes. This is very much 100% this fringe thing that maybe 6 people will end up using or something. It's like this, and it was so much time spent on it. What was so weird about it. But again, I don't intend this to be a shot, but it is. Apple is not in the seat of being super innovative anymore. That's just not what they do. They iterate on their phones. This phone looks the same as the phone before it, and the phone before it, and the phone before it. They all look the same.
Dynamic Island is the most innovative new feature.
All right, we're still on iPhone.
Before we get that,
we're still on iPhone 14, buddy. We're not the Pro Max.
Before we get to that, being non-innovative, what's the crash detection stuff? Is that the phone or is that the watch?
That's a watch.
Both. The phone.
I think they added it on the phone too.
Yeah, the phone has this.
Yeah, because they showed the one of the iPhone
the
gyroscope
through
the air.
Have they had it on either up until now?
Don't think so.
Don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
How did they present that? Was it a fear-mongering thing? Because I'll be honest, the way Google presented it was phenomenal. They made commercials about it on TV and everything. Their SOS,
it's
whatever.
the same type thing. Like, but to me, that makes more sense.
Right, because everyone knows someone or has been in a car accident.
You get in car, they happen a lot to
Andrew
lots of
was
people.
a car accident. I mean,
and JoJo sent him a text and said the watch is getting crash detection. She said, "Look, finally!"
It's so good.
And Andy Cam was like, "Dang!"
Shots fired. There were a lot of witnesses that saw it happen.
Right.
I didn't need someone to come get me.
And your watch got smashed too. So.
But that's the idea. Like the base underlying thing, if it notices that kind of shock, it would register something to go ahead and send an alert, even if the device was smashed. Hopefully, but yeah, this is not new. And I was glad to see. I don't think they tried to pawn this off as if they'd come up with something or invented something. They just said we have this now, and it's like cool, good. You should. I mean, Google's had this for, they introduced crash detection in the 4, I think, as a software feature. So it's not new by any shape or form, but that's a good thing to have. And you can fearmonger a little bit with that one, because people get in car accidents a lot.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't personally know anybody that's gone out in the woods and gotten lost. Yeah. I just don't know anybody that's happened to, or I've never seen it online. It's just not a normal thing.
Right.
They spent way longer on the satellite thing than they did, because it's like, hey, we have cool tech. Our thing, if you point it the right way in the perfect situation under the right sky, it might be able to actually get a satellite signal for a second. They were geeking out on the fact they got that crammed into a phone versus the more important thing is yeah, you're behind the curve on crash detection, but at least you added it. So,
Right.
good on you.
Which
for doing
handy
that.
tip, if you have a newer model car that has Bluetooth, your car probably has crash detection already, but it's cool that you can like Ford, their sync, Microsoft Sync that they use, when you sync your phone to any newer, when I say newer, I mean last, I don't know, gosh, 10, 15 years.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so crash they call it SOS. It's free as long as your phone is synced to the car. If you get in an accident, it will prompt your phone to call. Now your phone still has to be working.
That'd be the worst time for Bluetooth to have one of its Bluetooth.
But
I had to reset my truck last week.
So you can pay for a service that it will do it from the car if the car's Wi-Fi is cellular enabled. But if it's synced to your phone, it will call automatically.
No phone connected.
For
Sorry.
phones, for this to just now be
Sorry.
for this to just now becoming kind of standardized on phones, it's kind of sad. Actually, it's been on cars for almost 2 decades.
But it's there and it works really well. From what we've seen, like the crash detection picks up like fall detection, all those kind of things. Like that stuff. Basically, it's there and it says, hey, if you don't respond, well, I'm going to do this. I'm going to call somebody. And I'd imagine Apple's is going to work the same way.
Yeah.
So kudos to them for adding that. And then they added some photo stuff. Like they've got some better.
What is it? The
photonomic engine or something.
Photonomic engine. Yeah.
I just have to name everything. It's so exhausting.
Got to create a name for it. Brand it for some reason.
It's no different than what we've had before. It's just better binning of pixels, better combining more different exposures. Like it's computer generated photography. It's what we've all come to understand as the normal for phones. Yeah. They're quote unquote they're doing it better until people actually test it. Who knows? Yep. Google will make the exact same claims with the Pixel 7. It's not, now we take 5,000 pictures. Every time you snap the shutter, it takes 8 million photos. It puts them all together and gives you one photo that has everything in it.
Yeah, exactly.
And you want clowns
better,
and candy, it puts it
better
in there
than real life. It's better. Your photos are actually better than anything you're doing in your real life right now.
Andy Cam.
So. It's like, okay, cool. We get it. Everybody's doing that. What I want to see is like cameras like these Sony cameras start to do computational photography all the time. Yeah. Like put some processors in those bad boys. Yeah. Let's take all that hardware and compute that photography and videography. That would be awesome. Yeah. And they had like a stabilization mode too.
The video. Which the action one looked pretty legit as long as it works.
Yeah. Somebody, I think it was Linus or Mr. Who's the Boss said, I'll have to get that in because their previous efforts at doing these highly stabilized things means the end result of the video is pretty grainy in order to get there or whatever.
It's basically cropping in.
Because like the Pixels have had that super cinematic, like it doesn't do sound, like the cinematic pan, like it's crazy stabilized. Like it looks like it's on a gimbal. And I'm like, that's cool, but
I don't know.
We talked about like Google working with someone on creating something like that, but it just occurred to me, what about like you have a lens and you have a body, but the body is essentially hollow, but your Pixel phone just docks into it, and then they work with Canon or Sony or whatever to create a Pixel specific
interface that goes over USB-C.
That gives you all the stuff you would have on a regular camera, and then it's able to utilize that expensive piece of glass and Google's AI. That's all you need.
Yeah, I mean, the
body wouldn't cost anything because it's just
it's just a holder and a bus.
So you still feel like you're holding a real piece of photography equipment.
That'd be amazing.
So then the two larger phones introduce
Plus Pro Max.
Introduce at least something a little new, which is the dynamic island. And as much as we make fun of it,
goodness,
it actually looks
fun.
It looks kind of dope. It looks pretty dope.
Yeah,
it is fun. It's a. I did say in the middle of it, I'm like, if nothing else, like that is a fun UI element. Yeah. Like,
and it's actually like I think it will be useful.
I do too. I don't think it's going to be any more useful in the long term. Like, again, this is an unintentional dig at Apple, but the notification shade for iPhones is just not as good as Android is. It's just not. And we get all these little widgets in our notification tray. That's what this is going to be providing, basically. These kind of ongoing,
quick access to whatever you have running,
right? Yeah, in the background. So, like, I'm used to on my lock screen, I've got a big widget that has my now playing thing, or it's in I pull down the notifications. I got a big, nice graphical interface to deal with that, and then push it out of the way. That's kind of what this is going to be doing, but it does it in a really fun and playful way with the top. So there's no notch anymore. It's a pill around.
It's not a hole punch. It's Yeah, it's a little pill
so
there.
all the renders earlier were showing like these little hole punches. It definitely is a pill. So it's not that much smaller than the notch was because it still has to house all of the Face ID stuff, which Apple does better than anybody else. I mean, but that takes hardware. Like you got to have stuff pointing at it. It's got IR sensors and cameras and all that kind of stuff. So that stuff can't just go away and still get what they had. So they have to have a spot for it. So basically take the notch and detach it from the top and put a little bit of screen up top that's completely useless and does nothing. And now you don't have a notch technically.
Yeah.
Whatever. When
you're watching a video, you'll see a tiny sliver of your video behind
it was Linus. He was like, it doesn't matter. Apple still makes the ugliest phones from the front view. Like they just are. They're not attractive. It's just the way it is. But, it's got the stuff in there. But that little island, because it's all OLED, the screen's all OLED, they take the darkness of that section and just animate the expansion of it to do stuff inside of it.
Different types of animations, too, based on the app, which is interesting.
One that like a blob comes off the right side of it and then creates a new little black circle that has something in it. But then there's one that it expands it all the way across the top and then retracts it, and it kind of pushes stuff out of the way at the top.
And one that was kind of like just a square little
square
blob
pop
right
thing
below
comes
it.
down like when it's doing Face ID, so that where that black blob already is, it just expands it. And so it makes the thing that's on your screen move around a little bit.
Yeah.
It's a fun touch.
So it's not just a hole that's always there. It has some interaction almost.
Right.
Or,
they've created.
Some
they've
might say
turned it into a UI element.
Like some might say it's like dynamic. Like it's like a dynamic island.
It's an island
that's dynamic.
It is dynamic.
It's a dynamic island.
It is a dynamic
Dang, they should name
island.
it that.
When they first showed, though, they showed like one animation. They're like, "It's called our dynamic island." I was like,
"Oh, we were both like, oh my, are you kidding me?"
Oh my,
dynamic island.
But stupid naming aside,
it's pretty dope.
It is really, it's a fun little addition. Is it like the weird thing to me now is that Apple's created the notch. They put the notch in. They were the first one to do that with Face ID and all that stuff. But like Apple does with anything, they've turned square watches into a fad, right? So Apple can do that. Apple can make ugly things hip and cool. Yep. They're good at it. Their phones,
AirPods.
Their phones are ugly.
AirPods came out.
iPhones are not attractive phones. Like the back of them looks pretty heinous. Like they're squared off on the edge. Like they're just like, okay, look, it's a phone. Because we all know phones are just this whatever. Like, okay, if my phone looks good, who cares? Like, what's it matter? It doesn't even matter. And so, like, you want it to look unique, and it does that because it's got a big notch on it. It's ugly, but it's unique. And now you're going to get away from that for the phone that is the one that they want people to want most. It doesn't look like all their other phones now. And now it's got a UI element that doesn't do, like the other phones won't do that same thing. And so that's a really interesting dynamic to me for Apple to do because they're usually so like spot on with like branding. It's like if we're going to move away from this, we're going to move away from it for everybody. But at the same time, the XS brought in the notch for the first time, and everything followed after. That's what will happen. Like eventually it'll be the haves and the have-nots. Do you have dynamic island or do you don't? You got a notch? Oh, you suck now. Yeah. That was a cool thing before. Now you suck. You're poor.
You got DI? You got DI or not?
You got
DI?
You don't have DI, like you're poor, man.
You don't have DI,
cheap iPhone.
If you don't have DI, man, you are a peasant.
Yeah, but Apple doesn't divide stuff like that.
No, heck no.
I mean, that's iMessage and all. They wouldn't do that.
Yeah, right.
Anyway.
But it is a cool thing, and
it is interesting.
And we said watching the keynote yesterday, we're like, well, what will be the first Android device with an island?
If nothing else, it'll be a Chinese phone.
Xiaomi or something.
Yeah, there will be
Huawei will probably.
There will be an Android.
So my only question is if I were to go buy my grandma a new iPhone,
which you should if you want her to live.
Clearly.
And if you want her to get good photos and videos.
Yeah, well, not only that, if grandma wants a dynamic island, which one do I need to buy her?
Got to be Pro.
All right, we're going Pro. Grandma's a Pro. All right,
has to
Pro
be Pro
or Pro Max.
Yeah, so there you go, Grandma. You get a Pro iPhone.
But what was funny is like we got in the middle of the Pro Max, stuff, and other than the dynamic island thing was a thing. But then it felt like they just regurgitated, like they hit replay on the iPhone 14 thing.
When they do like their blocks of stuff that's new, it was like
this is the same. And they talked about the photography, and they talked about the the stabilized thing and the camera, and they talked about spinning pixels, and I was like, the 16 Bionic's the only upgrade really. I think the screen is nicer. It's crazy bright. Like
yeah.
2,000 nits.
Yeah, the brightest production phone ever.
Yeah. So, but it'll probably only do that like under direct sunlight,
Yeah,
like when it needs to.
Yeah, why not just be like the 14 and 14 Pro both do this instead of
That's what I said.
Like,
we were watching it. I'm like,
sense.
can they just say like all the features of the iPhone 14 plus blah blah blah? It's like they regurgitated through all of them.
Yeah.
Like they really lost me at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's all your phones. Also, they announced a slew of new watches, including a new design this year called the Ultra, and it's more of a sport watch. It has
No.
no, it is not round. It is still
It is
still square,
still cool and
but
square.
it has a flat screen with almost kind of are the edges. Are the edges raised?
It's been ages.
Are the edges raised around the screen a little bit so the bezel's
yeah,
raised?
he pulled it up. Like
Yeah.
the sides of it look the same as the normal Apple Watch. Like
Yeah.
it's still the same rounded. It just on
Kinda
top
comes
of it,
up, yeah.
it's got like a flat top
Right.
on the top.
And so it's more of a
Is that
more
to
of a
protect the
sport.
screen?
Yeah.
yeah, 'cause
Okay.
it's a dive
It's more of a
watch, basically.
sport, utility
That's
watch.
not a dive
It goes how far, right?
It does
it's
have
rated for weight, like super
some
deep.
other stuff. What was the Hodinkee had a good article about it.
Still
it's a
not
tool
that
watch,
watch.
is what they refer to it as. You know, yeah,
tool watch.
It's a tool watch.
You know where you put your tool watch, Andrew? In your tool bag.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
So what's the maximum depth on it?
That's what I'm looking up right
10
now.
Like,
atmospheres.
it goes deep.
It goes, yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it
With
does.
30
and that's
maybe?
And it has
the thing on
and it
top
has an
is for
extra physical button on the side, so
Okay.
you're getting some extra utility out of that for sure. And it's got a different type of dial, and then there's the one extra button, or do those have the button below the dial? Do you have a button below the dial? You've
Yeah, I
got
have
the
a
button below the
button
dial,
below
but
the
it's like
dial and the-
recessed or whatever. Not recessed. It
Abscess?
opposite. It's the opposite. It is abscessed.
No, I don't think
Wow.
that's the opposite of reset.
Posts.
It is.
It's an Audi.
It is
That's what it
stuck
is.
out a little bit.
The button's not an
Which,
E,
like,
it's an
again,
Audi.
you know,
Yeah.
if you're as a runner, I hate that in Strava on my Samsung, all my buttons are digital. I
Right.
can't program my two physical buttons in that app, which
Right,
is
to do
super
something
annoying.
simple.
So, yeah, like I'm going on a run, I come to a stoplight, and I've got to stop for a second. I have to swipe over in Strava and then tap the pause button. Like,
Yeah, it's not
it's
good.
just kind of
You
weird.
can't tell Google to do it.
Maybe I don't know. I've never
cool.
even.
You could
I
set
haven't.
up-
I haven't messed with this
out of
watch
breath.
very much. Yeah. But if like if you're wearing gloves, or if you're sweaty running or whatever, having the physical buttons are always
Oh,
better.
yeah. Gross.
Picturing Joe running in gloves.
I do. I mean, in the winter.
No shirt.
No
just gloves.
t-shirt, running shorts, gloves.
I mean, I do when it's like that weird temperature where it's chilly but not quite cold. I'll run in a like t-shirt or maybe a long sleeve with gloves, but with still my shorts on.
No, I'd rather just t-shirt, shorts, gloves.
I mean, I have done t-shirt and gloves. I've done that.
No shorts.
Well, like when we had like
Don't wanna imagine that.
cross country season gets pretty cold at the
Yeah.
end of the season. Like some people would wear like Under Armour underneath, but you would normally wear your jersey and have on gloves. And they even make you've seen runners with the
What's
sleeves.
the saying? No bad weather, just, what is it?
Just bad clothing.
There you go.
You've seen runners that have like just the sleeves on their arms. It's just to keep
Yeah.
your arms, the exposed parts warm. Anywho, this watch,
Depth.
what's the depth, and then how expensive
How
is
far
it?
can I dive?
40 meters.
Sweet.
40 meters.
That's
That's
120
pretty
feet.
darn deep. Not
I do it all
near
the
as
time.
deep as dive watches.
I
but
do
So
that,
that's
and I go out,
12 atmospheres. Is that right? An atmosphere is 10 meters. Is that correct?
I think this guy goes.
and then I go down. I go out in the wilderness, and then
Can't
I
read it.
dive
I think
deep
this one's
into the
on- I
ocean.
don't
So
know
I
what-
need
I don't
I
know
need
what
the
it
new iPhone and the watch.
What are you going, the Marianas Trench or something?
Dude, I go crazy.
but still, that's pretty deep.
And the price
3 meters. is deep.
$799, right?
is the same price as the iPhone 14.
All right.
Which is what?
$799.
I was gonna say we don't know.
It's like I don't know.
It's just ridiculous.
That's crazy.
That's
So
a lot.
yeah,
for a watch.
one atmosphere is 10.33 meters. So
That's
because
four.
most of your
3.8.
standard,
yeah, 3.8 atmospheres.
yeah, most of your standard nice watches are 5 to 10.
Atmospheres,
So
yeah.
how many did we say it was?
3.8.
Atmospheres?
It's only 40 meters.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So I mean, it's a smart watch, utility
Yeah.
watch. You know, it's still not going to replace a proper dive watch or anything like that. But it is cool. It's a slightly different design. I'm into it. I'd like to see one in person. I like dive watches.
I think it's hideous.
I like kind of sporty looking stuff like that. So
But
I don't know.
to be fair, I think the Apple Watch looks great. Like I think they've done a great job of making a really good looking product.
Yeah.
And so I think this really
Because it looks just like that.
yeah. Well, I
People
mean,
always
this
say
looks just like the Apple Watch.
Yeah.
Like Fitbit was
Yeah.
made to look like an Apple Watch.
Yeah.
Definitely not the other way around.
Yeah.
And like I feel like this one just undoes so much of what an Apple Watch looks like to me.
Yeah.
It looks more like I'm just not into watches, and
Yeah.
so like the look of it is not attractive at
Yeah.
all to me. But
gotta
watch people, maybe it will be. I don't
Yeah,
know.
it's
If they-
expensive though.
They'll
Gosh.
market it the way that they need to market it to make it look cool.
I can't imagine. It's a lot. That's a lot to spend on a watch. But I mean, if you're in the Apple ecosystem and you're a outdoors adventure type person and you want that sort of utility watch that you're not going to worry about banging it on a tree or whatever,
Yeah, you bang your watch
Yeah.
on a tree.
Yeah, if you're out on a run and banging on a tree, you're riding your bike, banging on a tree.
If you're a real outdoorsman, you've got that big Velcro thing. That can,
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So a couple other watches. What's the newer, cheaper one?
The SE
Okay.
starts at $250.
Which is cool.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
that's nice that they've done a more entry model.
Yeah,
And then
for
they
sure.
just updated the other ones, right?
Yeah.
Cool. So yeah, it was a good event. It was strange that they let in people. Like there were several
There were-
tech folks, tech YouTubers that were in the building, but it looked like they just went and sat in a
Watched the
room
video-
and
watched the
watched
video.
the video because all of the keynote was post produced. So
It's super weird.
people out in the middle of fields.
they
Just-
did that again.
And then
huh?
in a
Oh,
bunker,
yeah.
and then in a bunker,
in a bunker,
of some sort.
in a rainbow.
Tim Cook
there
in
were
a rainbow in the middle of the.
there were folks floating around everywhere. It was crazy. Looked incredible. Their
They
camera
did.
work, their graphics are phenomenal.
Yeah, the production level.
Yeah.
is
As
just-
far as
Out of
a
control.
keynote and the way that they've done these post-produced like non-live events,
Yep.
they've done a fantastic job.
the
with
fact
it.
that
I would
they
love
had-
to see, and they're not doing it live. They're post-producing all this stuff, but I would
Right.
love to see some of the timelines for these
Yeah.
craziness.
I mean, it's like movie production,
Yeah.
kind of thing. And I'm curious too. Like, I wonder if they've just settled into this is how they're going to do their events now.
And then I guess
know.
the folks that are live, they're just
they're
watching
there
it.
so that they can go,
and then they get to go get hands-on.
But we were talking about this morning. Have you seen any videos or anything of hands-on stuff?
Seen photos.
So there was a hands-on
Yeah.
area.
Mhm.
Okay,
I've
just
seen
not
several
seen
photos,
anything yet,
yeah. Mhm.
which I found weird. I was like, well, crap, maybe they didn't have a hands-on. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I saw there was.
It'd be
there
even
was,
more weird for them to be there.
It was in
Is
that
it
same
available
kind
yet?
of.
Can
It
you
was in
buy
that
it?
same room as.
Pre-order.
I think it's on
It
pre-order.
was in that same room, the kind of big white,
Yeah.
super high ceiling room.
Yeah, maybe they did
Yeah.
like photography only, no videos until after the whatever.
Yeah,
who
or
knows?
maybe it's just
know.
taking folks a little bit to get their stuff ready. I don't
maybe
know.
no one cared, and they're just like,
I don't
man,
know.
let's go get some pizza.
So there you have it. That's all we need to talk about.
There
Yeah.
was one more thing that
one other
Apple
thing.
did.
Oh, we forgot
Apple
about the
AirPods Pro Max.
Oh, yeah.
2, where they innovated the touch control. Have you guys heard of that before?
They can swipe it or something.
You
No,
swipe the
I'm pretty
volume
sure
up.
Did
that
they really
that's
add swipe
physically
though?
impossible.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow, that's actually kind of neat.
I mean, I'm excited for it. But
Can
I
you
do
still squeeze it or
recognize-
no? No squeeze.
I believe you still can.
Okay.
Squeeze and swipe.
Is that what
I know
you
you
do
didn't
now?
like it, but I like
Yeah.
the squeeze
you
thing
just
on
squeeze
my
I
It's
think
like
it's
at
just
the
the
top?
volume.
No,
on
you
it.
the little
Okay.
stick you
Oh,
squeeze,
you
and it
squeeze it.
has the haptic, like the sound of it makes it feels like it's clicking. It's not,
Okay.
but it makes you whatever it does to you. Like it makes you think like you're clicking that. That's how you turn your
Yeah, that's- I
noise
like
canceling.
that.
I love
I
it
like
because
that. I
I
just
don't
want the
accidentally
volume.
touch
Yeah.
stuff all the
Right.
time, and so you have to grab a hold of the thing
Yeah.
and then put pressure on it in order to enact something. I'm like,
Yeah.
I thought that was genius when they
Huh.
put that on there.
Okay.
Yeah, but a swipe volume is fantastic. I
Yeah, as long as you can do that, and then you can swipe all the way the length of it or something to do. We missed that part
Yeah.
of the presentation, but
yeah.
apparently 2x noise canceling.
Yeah.
So now the whole thing is since Bose launched theirs, everybody's like, "Well, Bose
What's
is
the-
$50 more." They, you know,
What's
which
the noise
one's
canceling
which
gonna be
one's
like?
better? But apparently Bose's new ones are ridiculous.
I've only seen a few things, but everything looks like they're going to be awesome.
Yeah, but at the same time,
get
you know,
them adjusted.
Apple's are $50 less. Apple's going to work better with Apple products, so you have that built-in audience already, and they already have a proven model for earbuds.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, yeah.
Kind of like they have in
Yeah.
the watch. Like they have just kind of owned that space.
Yep.
Everybody tries to be like them, and so like it, as far as like I can sit and make fun of iPhones all day. Like their lack of innovation for the most part is just kind of like boring and whatever. But man, when it comes to wearable stuff, like their watches and honestly tablets too, like iPads just demolish everything in their wake.
Yeah.
And in earbuds. I mean, they made earbuds cool.
Apple Pencil.
No, Apple Pencil's a joke.
Charging
One
in the end of your iPad.
Innovative piece.
The magnetic charge was cool when they added that.
There's a loop for a lanyard.
Whoa.
In your case.
Whoa.
I'm just saying.
And you can charge them with your MagSafe stuff now, right?
You could always do the
Is it
MagSafe
USB-C or is
full,
it Lightning still?
Oh, okay.
but it can also do the watch.
Can you reverse
right.
charge
It's
with
still
your
Lightning.
phone? Can you charge them with your phone?
Still
So
Lightning.
yeah,
That's
I
a
think
fail.
we can move on to the next topic.
I don't know.
No, you can't.
Okay.
You can't, Gabe.
No,
I've
can't.
had 3 phones that do that. I have never used it once because it's.
I used
it's a
it
gimmick.
one time when we were traveling somewhere, and
never
I just needed to charge. They were almost dead. It was my son's earbuds actually, and so I flipped it over and let it sit there for
That's
10
pretty
minutes
cool.
or whatever,
Yeah.
and it got him another hour or two of listening.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah.
It's not that big of a deal.
So yeah, there you have it. There's our thoughts on the Apple event. Moving on to the next thing, we threw a Chromebook off the roof.
Yeah. And that's it. That's how the story ends.
That's all we have to say. That's it. We just threw a Chromebook off the roof for no reason because we like destroying things.
Yeah, we like breaking things.
Yeah, I mean we're just like pretty
We
destructive
have all this
guys.
stuff back here. We just figured, hey,
Yeah,
let's break this.
We woke up last week one morning. Just said we chose violence.
Chromebook violence. Yeah.
Just said we're going to destroy something today, and that's what we went and did.
Yeah.
No, that's not what we did. We wanted to make a video about testing all of the
Claims.
I was going to say mil-spec ratings, but like, what would you call it? It's
They're durability claims.
durability claims. Thank you. There you
for
go.
rugged Chromebooks.
Yeah.
And they're largely the same across all of them. So,
Right.
whether you get an HP or an Asus or Acer, Lenovo, whatever, if it's a student main Chromebook and it has claims of durability, they almost end up all falling under the same thing. 4 feet, dropped onto hardwood. The amount of liquid they can withstand changes from device to device. The one we tested was 12 ounces, which is a ton of
Quite
liquid.
a bit, yeah.
That's a lot of liquid.
Quite a bit.
We basically poured a full one of these on
But
it.
like the reinforced hinges all kind of do the same tricks now. Like I remember we were in Vegas and like that Asus or Acer
Our thumbnail.
booth, that let us hold it. People thought the thumbnail was fake and all this stuff. Like that was one of the first ones that kind of did that whole reinforced hinge thing. But we've learned through talking with these manufacturers over the years, like the study that goes in for this stuff. Like they go and they observe. Let's just see what kids do to these things and then see if we can figure out a way to make it not break the Chromebook. And so like snatching the Chromebook up, like kids will just grab it by the screen and pick it up. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Like if my kids ever do that, I'll knock them out.
Little
like,
barbarians.
What are you doing?
Little barbarians.
And so they have to be rated for that, but also just holding it out by the screen, like that kind of stuff. So the reinforced hinges, the drop protection, the water stuff, and then not being able to pick keys off of the device with bare hands.
We didn't test standing on it. We should
didn't.
have.
That one actually, I looked at the specs. It didn't say anything about having a downward force rating.
Yeah, there's not a lot.
The Acer one
the Acer
said
did.
specifically.
CTL does the downward rating test, but
Some of them just don't put it on there. But my guess is if it has all those other things, I would bet most Chromebooks can take more downward force than you would imagine.
Yeah, and that's the thing.
It's like,
for people that aren't familiar with this, mil-spec isn't a specific rating or specific test. There's a battery of tests. So when you see these new devices announced, it'll say something like meets, so many, it passes so many mil-spec tests. There's a ton of tests in this, so it'll be up to a certain weight or up to a certain drop or up to this, or it's this much dust resistance or that. So if a device says mil-spec, don't just assume that it's like
they always just say mil-spec tested.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, that didn't mean it passed.
And there's different. There's mil-spec like 29. Don't assume that device is indestructible just because it says it's been mil-spec tested. You need to do some research on that. HP is pretty high in the realm of.
Well, almost every Chromebook that comes out that has mil-spec, it's 810
right.
H. I think it's the one that they all do. So that's the mil-spec stuff is usually just dust, humidity resistance, that kind of stuff. Like the mil-spec, the drop ratings aren't even part of, I think, that mil-spec actually. So like it's very foggy. It's a marketing ploy, to be honest. The education Chromebooks a lot of times will come and they will say this can withstand up to this.
Right.
and instead of just throwing it under. What you'll see the mil-spec stuff with is almost every Acer Chromebook that we get our hands on. Yeah, it's mil-spec rated, tested. It's like, okay, so that's our next thing. I want to take, I want to get someone to give us a consumer device that claims mil-spec and let us do the main stuff on it first and do some basically drop testing is really where it's going to come down to. Maybe get us a bag of sand and throw some of this stuff at it and see if it really stands up to those things. But that's what we wanted to test is some of these specific claims. So we went to HP's website and got the spec sheet for this. Here's specifically what it says it can withstand. So let's specifically do those things. And we did all of them on camera. We dumped a full glass of water, literally all of it
most
on the
painful
keyboard.
Part of the video for me. I don't know why. It was just
it was cool to watch it bubble up on top.
Oh, I know.
Like it just sat on
and
top of it.
And the slow-mo looks so good.
Yeah. But picking it up and watching it just run off, made a huge mess. But, and some pretty nasty drops from at least 4 feet. Probably a little higher on a couple of them, but shoving it off the desk and letting it just hit and just watching it just blubber around. But it stood up to all that stuff, and it took me taking a butter knife to the keys to get.
And even that had to I
really had to work to get that thing, but I wouldn't do it. Like it would hurt you to get it off of your nails.
Like apparently
you would probably break it, like it peel back a nail before that thing.
It was Acer or somebody we were talking to who told us it's just like a habit thing. Like kids will be sitting there and just pick.
They said some of them will want to pick it to move the keys around. And stuff, which these anchored keys apparently won't. They aren't going to work with that whole thing because once I picked it off finally, it was off. I could not put it back on. So. The key still worked underneath the cap, though, like the physical key itself. And we did that before we poured the water. I remember pouring the water during the video and being like, we peeled a key up. Crap. Did we
I thought the same
thing. I was screwed up the whole thing. But no, it was fine.
Because it's kind of sealed down underneath.
Yeah, usually they'll have a membrane or whatever.
And it's the membrane underneath that. But somehow, like the cap itself is also anchored. It's an anchored key cap somehow. So the way it's put in there is made like as you try to get into it from the side, it's almost like it depresses. They're cool. Yeah. But a lot of companies use these. Like it's not like just HP or whatever. So we put it through all that stuff and it survived just fine. Mm-hmm. And so then we thought let's prove the fact that these things are durable. They're not indestructible. Right. And so. Instead of just going like dropping 8 foot or 10 foot, we took it on a roof and threw it off of the asphalt.
I need to get my rangefinder and scope that and see exactly.
I'm going 36.
Oh, I don't think it's that tall.
I don't think it was.
I don't know.
I wasn't up there, so
because on top of the roof, you dropped it from over the rail, so it's another 4 foot at least right there. So
I'm guessing probably
the stories.
Closer to 30.
I think the stories were about 10 foot probably because it's 9 foot ceilings in that apartment and stuff between. So. 25 foot would be my guess.
25, 30
about where it came from.
Yeah.
But still, that's a lot.
Yeah.
Onto asphalt.
And
it didn't blow up. Like
the first one when we first, you have to go watch the video. You just got to go watch the video.
Just go watch and go to the end if you want to. But seeing the other test, I thought was really interesting too.
And we did, we kind of start the video off and we title the video with some of the maybe more exciting part of dropping it off the roof. But we did that to try to make this video as interesting as possible, right? So that people would actually watch and learn something about these devices that are pretty dang durable.
It really
more durable than I really like. I thought one of the drops off of the table or one of the drops of you holding it,
or
something would pop off. The keyboard wouldn't, something would happen because the screens are made to, and like the bodies are made to kind of like pop and snap off.
Yeah.
I thought at least like the back would pop off or something.
Right.
That didn't even happen. It did snap. It popped on one of them.
The screen bezel.
Right.
One little thing popped on.
Robbie's just like, doop, snapped right back in. No problem. I thought one of those, maybe either something would pop off or the screen.
What was interesting is like some of the comments already too of people saying like, "Hey, we've deployed hundreds of these in our school system, and we get people coming back with them completely demolished and like, I just threw it in my bag." And they're like, "Well, we can clearly watch this now and be like, that is not the case. Like you're absolutely lying.
Something happened."
And that's what we were out to show. Like, yes, they are durable, but here's the level of ridiculousness you have to go to break it.
They should posterize that, put it in their ID department, and just
That's
have
right.
at the bottom, no, your Chromebook did not accidentally explode.
That didn't happen.
There you
in
go.
Chromebook in your bag.
IT admins.
This is probably more
Use our
what
video.
happened.
Yeah.
And that's the thing too. Is it's it wasn't like, oh, we're testing the durability of a 2022 ball. It's just a durable Chromebook. Like the ones that were made 2 years prior probably have the same durability ratings.
Yeah.
The ones that were out this year have the same durability. Like it's all. kind of the same thing regardless. It wasn't like we chose that device for a reason. We just happened to have it.
Right.
And so we used it for that. And so, like hopefully over the next couple of years, this is a video that will just continue getting, views and being useful to people to see like, if I get a durable Chromebook, it's actually worth.
It's actually going to withstand.
And it's worth putting up with some of the deficiencies of those Chromebooks.
Maybe not perfect screen.
Or they're not the most beautiful devices, and they kind of look like chonkers. Sometimes it's like it's okay. Your kid when your kid throws it off the table, or oops bumps it, or oh man I spilled my drink on it. Like it's actually going to withstand those things. It's not just a marketing thing.
In enterprise devices with people using them out in the field and that sort of stuff, like these devices are legit.
Yeah. So I'm really interested to see like a more standard one that has the mil-spec rating. Like how it holds up.
Didn't you say the Vero or one of the other Acers?
Vero's mil-spec.
Every Acer that we've seen for a while has been like that. So
let's ask him. That's an interesting one that it's made from a lot of recycled materials. Like that could be a fun one to be like.
Well, you remember when
says it's mil-spec too.
The Pro came out, Samsung Chromebook Pro, and that guy put it through all those tests. He was an educator, and he really wore it out, and it stood up to most of it. And I was like, okay. I mean, I think,
and it didn't have any. It wasn't. Yeah, he just
there was no ratings or
he
anything.
Abused
for it.
The snot out of that.
I don't know if I remember that. I'll have to.
Old.
Yeah, it was a school IT admin, and I don't even remember why he did it.
I think we wrote an article though and put the video in the article, so it's on the website somewhere.
Nice.
But yeah, that makes me interested to see like, especially the ones that have fans and stuff, all the moving parts to them.
Yeah.
So I'd love to do it. Both with a fan device and a non-fan, which I know like the 513 is non-fan.
Yeah, but like your aluminum devices, stuff like that, are they going to bend? They're obviously going to show damage worse than the plastic ones are. And it makes me wonder, like most of these enterprise devices are mil-spec or they've been durability tests or whatever. I don't know. Something in me just says I bet they're not as indestructible as the school devices.
There's no way. Even the big bumper around the edges of the school devices like that. That clearly is there for a reason. It'd be fun to see if we could get that 10E from Lenovo and actually run it through a battery.
Yeah.
I've still got one, but it's dead, so it really wouldn't do any good.
Just because it had kind of the bumpery look to it too, and it'd kind of take it through some of those
still
tests.
got the same display as the Duet, though. I bet that display would.
I feel like it just wouldn't stand up, but I don't know. That's what's interesting about doing videos like this. To be able to actually do that stuff, because we take that stuff at face value and just like, it could stand up to that stuff. Well, until you actually run into those situations, you just don't know. So it's no different than like having, at one point sapphire glass was going to become the front panel of all cell phones, and then I guess they figured out there's not enough of it to go around, and so it's like on watches and stuff like that. I know some of the Apple watches have sapphire glass on them, and it's like you hear that it's harder and it's more scratch resistant and all that stuff. It's like, you don't want to take a $500 watch and try it.
No.
Like you're not going to run it through, and you're still going to take care of it, and guard it. It's like it's so cool to be able to take some of these things and just be like, no, we're going to break it.
Yeah, we'll test it.
It's like the Gorilla. What's the new Victus?
Victus.
It's supposed to be so much better than.
Every time they say that, I'm like, I don't believe it.
It's at the end of the day.
To scratch
at the end of the day, it's still glass, and if you're rough on it, or
sand
will scratch anything.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So it's a fun video. Go check it out. We'll make sure to link it. Shout out to Andy Cam on the edit.
Yeah, the whole thing came together really cool.
It was
awesome.
a different style video for us. It's not just a kind of standard review or unboxing. This is a multiple different locations, kind of an intro tying to outro,
all kinds of different audio,
montage stuff, audio stuff. Like there was a lot going on there.
Yeah,
so
it was different, but it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was fun. It was a lot of fun. We destroy Chromebooks. We destroyed one Chromebook. We might destroy more in the future, but we also give away Chromebooks.
Yes.
Lots. We have a giveaway going right now. Yeah.
We give away 10-1, Chromebooks to destroy.
Yeah,
Chromebooks.
we've given away probably more.
More than that.
Way more than that.
We've given away a lot over the years, but we are doing a giveaway right now.
We got another one in the hopper. I can't wait to get that started.
We do.
We got awesome too.
We got some good ones.
We got to get through this one first.
I know we got to get through this one. So help us get to 10,000 subscribers on this YouTube channel, the Chromecast podcast. All you have to do is click the link in the description, and it'll walk you through the steps. Get entered. We're getting so close. It's like we had such a great ramp up right at first. Yep. And then we kind of stalled a little bit, and we're trying to get to that first 5,000 mark, because at 5,000, 6, 7, 8, and 9,000.
Did we do a post on the site?
I don't
specifically
know.
for this giveaway? I think we did.
I think we did.
Did we?
But I
Maybe
don't
we
know.
didn't.
Let's do one.
If not, let's do a new one.
How many are we giving away?
What? We're giving away 4 of the 5. Yeah.
It's 5 or 6. I think it might be 6. No, let's see.
No.
5,000, 6,000, 7,000, 8,000,
9,000.
5 of
Give
them.
them 5 away.
5 clocks and a Chromebook.
And
I
Lenovo.
remember discussing the title. I don't think we ever wrote it.
Okay. Well, let's
Then
write it.
Even if we did,
I know
we
it's
can
in the post
Figure out
and
a,
stuff, yeah. We're gonna
a
do
fun way to do it again.
Yeah.
Because it's just people just don't realize.
Yeah.
That it's even
And
out there.
we're giving away a Lenovo Chromebook Duet 3. A fantastic tablet.
Right.
Which you can now buy the pen for.
Yeah.
Right.
Unless Lenovo sold out because they were low
Probably
in
sold
stock
out.
already.
Yeah, they might have sold out already.
But
We'll
you
see.
can get the pen.
Yeah,
But
but
we're at 4,380 subscribers as of this
So
moment
help
right
us
now.
get this last little bump so we can do our first giveaway.
Yeah.
Help us get there. Share it with your friends. The sooner we get there, the sooner we get to give away this
Just a few
Chromebook.
hundred subscribers. No big deal.
That's right. It's
No big
easy.
deal.
Easy peasy.
Yeah.
All right. Go check it out. Link in the description. But I think that's it for this week. If you are watching this video on YouTube, make sure to give us a thumbs up. Go down there and click subscribe. Well, you're already going to do that because you already entered the giveaway.
Right.
So you'll be good there. But also make sure to ring the notification bell icon so that you get alerted when we put out another episode. All right. That's it for this week. See ya.